Hello, in this video, we are learning how to create regression models, that is linear and multiple regression models. I've already loaded my packages and then also set my working directory. So please do that before you kickstart when you are creating the model. So before we create our models, we need to first of all understand what the independent and the dependent variables are. So the independent variable is the explanatory variable. That is the variable that is helping us to explain our phenomenon. And then the dependent variable is the phenomenon you are trying to explain. So in this case, ethnic fractionalization is my independent variable, and it's going to help me explain the dependent variable, that is war in a given country. And then also I've also added one control variable that is going to help us when we are creating our multiple regression. So for every linear regression or simple linear regression, this is the code you are likely to see. So the y here, the dependent variable is always denoted by y, which is equals to bu. The bu is the intercept. Then the b1 x1. So the x, anywhere you see x, it is our independent variable. Then plus our L term. So as I stated, this video, we are learning how to create a linear and then a regression model. So linear, let's start with our linear model. So in creating our linear model or in creating any regression model, the formula or the code to use in R is LM, then parentheses y, and then the x, which is the independent or the explanatory variable, then the name of the data set we are going to be using. So we can name our linear model A. So model A, that is the name we are assigning to our linear model. And then also after, then we write the code that we are going to run for our linear model. So our y, which is our dependent variable, is war. That is the name of our dependent variable in the data set. So first of all, we'll put war here. Then our independent variable, as I stated, is ethnic fractionalization, and then the name in the data set is ethfrac. So we will also put our ethfrac here. And then after doing that, the name of our data set, which is rightly up here, that is rep data. So you need to also show that. We need to also type that here. Okay. Data equals. You want to put summary of our data here so that we are able to get the printout of the model A we are creating for our linear regression model. This is very easy. So all we need to do is, so now we've stated that our independent variable is the ethfrac, that is ethnic fractionalization, which always goes after the dependent variable, which is war here. So we are quickly going to run our linear regression model, and which is very easy. So now we are able to see the output. So after running your linear regression model, the key thing is now you need to understand how we can explain. So there are four simple S's that you have to always go by in trying to explain your regression models. So the first one is the sign. So is it a positive relationship or is a negative relationship? So in this case, as I stated, ethnic fractionalization is our independent variable and it's helping us explain our dependent variable, which is war. So from our regression output here, we are able to see that there's a positive relationship because we don't have the negative sign here. So we're able to see that the relationship here is a positive one. That is for the sign. Then also we need to also understand the significance and then also what's the substance. So the three stars, whenever you see the star, it tells you that there's a statistical significance relationship between the variables and the study. So as we are also able to see under here, we are able to see that When it is 0.05, at 0.05, we have 1 star. At point 1, we have, at 0.01, we have 2 stars, and then also for 3 stars we have at 0.001, right? So we have 3 stars here, which tells us how statistically highly significant the relationship is between ethnic fractionalization and then also war, which is our DV. So in explaining how substantive this is, it tells us that whenever there's a 1 unit increase in ethnic fractionalization, we are able to see what a 0.206073 increase. So we expect the value of what we expect the value to increase by this number here, which predicts that so an increase in ethnic fractionalization is going to what increase war, that is our dependent variable, by what? By this margin when we hold all other variables constant. So it tells us that ethnic fractionalization in a country where there's high ethnic fractionalization, we are likely to see an increase in war. That is basically for our linear regression. So quickly, we'll also run our multiple regression. And as I stated, in running a multiple regression, as the name suggested, linear, we just have our DV and then our IV. But multiple regression, we want to introduce 1 or 2 more. You can introduce as many as you want variables in your model to check how these to check if these variables or control variables are also explaining your 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 dependent variable, which is war. So in this case, we are going to control for religious fractionalization to see if it also has an effect when it comes to explaining an increment in war, or when it comes to us explaining whether there's going to be whether there's going to be a positive relationship between our independent variable and our dependent variable. So quickly, we are going to run our multiple regression model. So again, we can name this model B. The first one, we named it model A. So let's name our multiple regression model B. And then the same formula as I stated, you always have your LM outside. Then the name of our dependent variable, as I stated, so the dependent variable will always come first. So we have our wall here. And then also this time around, our independent variable again is ethnic fractionalization. So we'll put it here again. Then this time around, because we are introducing our control, you put the plus sign and then religious fractionalization. That is what we are adding to the model. Then let's not forget to always bring our data. So the name of the data set once again is rep data. We put that here again. Then you want to put your summary here so that after we can simply get the output of it. So model B, the name of our model is model B. So let's run it quickly again. And then we have the output here. So the first one we had it was only the independent variable, but this time around we also added religious fractionalization to see its effects. So you can see from the output, just as I explained for the first time, that so it tells us that religious fractionalizations also in countries that have religious fractionalizations is also what explains, but then it doesn't what affects the explanation that ethnic fractionalization is what is already given us. But this also tells us that in explaining the substantive how this applies to real world, religious fractionalizations also can lead to can increase the propensity for war. But then this time around here, you notice that we have what a decrease instead of an increase. So it tells us that there's a negative relationship. As I said, we always want to look out for the sign, right? We always want to look out for the sign. And then also after looking out for the sign, then also the point. So it's at what? It has 3 stars, which is highly statistically significant. And but this shows what? A negative relationship. So there's a negative relationship between religious fractalization, meaning that when there are lots of religious fractions or factions within a country, we expect that war is going to what? Decrease. But this, yes, so that is what this is. So this is very easy. So in creating, let's not forget quick things. Let's not forget, I mean, creating your regression models. These are the simple formulas that we need to go by. So thank you so much for watching this video.